Good afternoon. It's Kate here from the Safeguarding Association for this week's Safeguarding Spotlight On. And today I wanted to talk about something that's actually just come up in DSL refresher training. And it's one of those things that we try to do, we try to put in place, and we try to be as organized as possible. And sometimes it just creeps up on us and we don't get enough time to do anything. And what I'm talking about is preparation and planning. Now, not in an academic sense necessarily, but more about taking some time as DSL very firmly with that hat on and thinking about what is potentially coming down the track for us, what is potentially in our future as an institution, maybe from a legal perspective or from a um, institution development perspective, and giving ourselves some time to really plan for this. Now, as a DSL, I know that can be really, really difficult. It can be really challenging to mark any time in our diaries to really give us some space because, frankly, um, we feel like we're shirking off, or we feel like we don't really have enough information, so we can't really plan it, or we're so busy dealing with the day to day stuff that happens in this role that by the time we need to think about and prep for, we're kind of doing it on our own time. And sometimes we just accept that that's the way it is. But I'm suggesting there's another way. I'm suggesting that we're right at the start of this academic year. I always find whatever is going on, September, October is always a bit of a restart for me, a bit of a refresh. And I do think it's really important that we take the time now before diaries get ridiculously busy over the coming weeks and months. And we take that time to once a quarter put some time in the diary. Now, that sounds really easy, sounds ridiculously simple. Why not? But the key isn't just putting the time in the diary. The key is actually taking that time. The key is to, when that time is in the diary, you don't move it. Regardless of what else is going on, you don't move that time, because that time is your time to really take stock of what you were trying to achieve. Where are you headed with it? What else needs to happen? Who else needs to be on board? Where is it going to sit? How is it going to work? What is it going to look like? All of that needs some headspace. And you don't get headspace by trying to throw it in on a random Wednesday afternoon when you've got 101 other things going on. You have to take that time and make it sacrosanct. You make sure that you prep for it. So, what information are you going to need in the lead up to this? Treat it like you would do any other meeting. Make sure that you've got your information, your time, your space. It's blocked out in your diary. Mute Teams, close that laptop, get the pen and paper out, get the documents in front of you. Yes, I am suggesting go old school with this, because actually it's all too easy to sit there with our laptops, our computers open going, I'm busy working, to then see a Teams notification happen, to then see something else go on and be busy dealing with that. And before you know it, just popping on to go and get document X so you know what that looks like, or maybe have a look at what Y said about this various thing that you're looking at, you then lost an hour. Your time is too precious to be lost in dealing with other things when you need to be thinking about what is coming down the line. As a DSL, particularly within HE and within an apprenticeship provider, you need to think about, where are things going? Because when people start asking questions like Ofsted, like British Council, like UKVI, you're the one they're going to ask. You're the one they're going to be checking in with and wanting to know where this information is. And if you don't know where that is, whether it's your remit or not, that's not going to be great. Now, all you need to do is know where it is. You need to understand what that looks like. You don't need to be responsible for it. But taking that time to really think about, what have we done? What issues have come up? What trends am I seeing? What challenges have we got with learners, with tutors, with courses, with employers, with the staff? Have I got issues in terms of getting people through the counselling service? Are people able to access it? These are all questions that you need to give yourself time to answer. Your job is hard enough without trying to do this on the fly. So I urge you, at the start of this term, at the start of this new rollout, whatever it is, whatever it looks like for you, start now. Make time sacrosanct in your diary. And then map out what it is you're going to look at each of these touch points. You can make them quarterly to be easy. So you might start at the end of October and have it as a reflection point after you've had your meeting with your staff. You might want to gather some more information from estates or from the disability team or from whomever, in order to have that moment of reflection, in order to really think about, what does this mean? What does this look like? Is this in line with our policies and procedures? Now, that's not to say that that absolutely sits on your shoulders. Of course, there'll be others that will be looking at various things, but actually, as that linchpin, as that kind of point at the top of the triangle, you have to be responsible for making sure that information is shared appropriately. You need to be responsible for whether these things are working, and if they're not, for working out why they're not working. Really thinking about what needs to happen and where and how. Who needs to be involved? Who needs to be around the table? Who needs to be part of these discussions in order to make all of this work? And yes, I can hear somebody saying, well, that's not my responsibility. That's not what I do as DSL. Might not be now, but I'm going to urge you to do it. I'm going to urge you to be that point of contact, to be for yourself, if nobody else, so that you can see what is happening. You can see what's going on, and you can lead the change if there needs to be one. Whether that is then having the evidence you need to go and talk to the exec team, whether it's the information you need to have stronger conversations with your leadership team. Maybe you need to have stronger conversations with your DSOs. Maybe you need to have stronger conversations with your deputy DSLs. Maybe there needs to be a stronger conversation with the board of directors about investment, or where things are headed, or where things are going. But you can't do that if you don't have the evidence, if you haven't given yourself the time and the space to really consider what's going on, what's happening, and where you are going. So this year, I urge you, block out time in your diary, make it sacrosanct, put a theme against each review so you know what it is you're going to be looking at. Take time to think about what information you're going to need in order to do that review. And then, and yes, I know this goes against environmental principles that lots of you have, but print it out. Go and find a space away from a computer, away from Teams binging, away from emails binging, and go and look at what needs, what has happened, where you are at, what it needs to look like. Now, it doesn't need to be reams of paper. It might just be a Power BI that you need that has the information on. But give yourself some space away from all of those distractions. Block it out in your diary. Make it absolutely sacrosanct. Doesn't have to be long. Could be 30 minutes. But make sure that time is in your diary. And trust me, at the end of the year, or when you next have your next cohort, you might do them between directors meetings, you might do them between leadership meetings, you might do them between exec meetings. You will thank yourself for taking that time to really dive into what's going on and what's coming down the track. We know there's lots of legislative changes about to happen in the next 12 months. Do not be hanging around and waiting for whatever Keeping Children Safe in Education says, because that can leave you on the back foot, particularly if you are in HE or an apprenticeship provision. Take time to work out what those legal changes are. I'll be sharing them in our 6 weekly briefings. I will share them as part of the emails. With members, we'll be doing trainings around them, and we'll be looking at the developments and looking at what it means. So there will be time I will build in for my membership so that people can have that time to look at and work out what needs to happen. Make sure, it doesn't matter where you are or what you're doing, and I know I've said this about 20 times already, but make sure that that time in your diary is sacrosanct. Don't allow anybody to move it. Don't allow yourself, importantly, to shift and move it. And then think about where you are going. And then have a tally. Make sure you've got some way of checking and reporting back to yourself, if nobody else, that this is what you've done and this is where you want to be and this is what you want to be achieving. You will thank yourself for it in a year's time. I promise you, you will thank yourself, because nobody likes to be caught out. Nobody likes to be on the back foot. Nobody likes to be tripped up because they've been busy doing other things and didn't really see what was coming. I urge you, take that time, have a look, be aware of what's going on for you, and your practice and your culture within your organisation will improve as a consequence. If you want to know more about the membership, then send me a message. I'd love to have you on board and part of our community. Otherwise, have a safe day, and I'll see you shortly.